Got a little Swedish there.
G'day Minecrafters, and how you going? Stevo here with another video. Today I want to look at some logic gates. Now, I know there's like a million videos out there about logic gates and such, and I want to talk a little about Redstone as well in general, but the reason I'm making this is I had a subscriber message me recently wanting to learn about a couple of logic gates. Now, I thought it kind of a waste to work with logic gates with only like 3 logic gates if I didn't do the rest of them. Save someone else asking me later. So anyway, the basics for those who are new to Redstone. Redstone as a wire, the power can transmit for 15 blocks in total, at which point it needs to be boosted or hit something. And so like for example, these pistons here and here are activated, whereas that one is more than 15 blocks and so it won't make it. Now, there's 2 ways to boost the signal. There's a number of ways actually, it's more than that. You can use an instant wire as well, so you can use a repeater, you can put a block and a torch to invert it. It's another way. You can't just put a thing through a block. You can put a block into a repeater into a block. That's another way. There's a lot of different ways to extend the signal. The most common is just to use a repeater. Now let's talk a little about repeaters and why they're different. Let's turn that off. As you can see, it was a little bit slower. But how slow? This here is a basic, exactly the same. Exact same distance and everything like that. As you can see, they're different. The one with the repeater is slower. This here, the repeater has a maximum of 4 ticks. So it's 4 ticks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the 4 different settings on a repeater. You can get mods that have more than that, but the basic vanilla one has only 4. Now if we wanted to make it up to a second difference, we would need to put in 10 ticks, because you have 10 ticks in every second, of 10 Minecraft ticks that is. So that's 4, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 ticks. Now we turn it, and so it's 1 second exactly in the delay. So now let's look at the basics here. This is the basic, probably one of the most basic gates. This is a NOT gate, which is basically just your input inverted. So that's your normal input. The NOT gate is just inverted when the torch is on. So as you can see, the block is powered. This torch is off. I've used lamps quite extensively here, so you can get an idea of what's powered and what's not. An OR gate is fairly simple again. It's just when either one of these is on, the power line is on. And this here is a NOR gate. So when either of these is on, the power signal at the end is off. So if they're both on, it's still off. So the signal will only come through if both gates are off, or if any of the gates are. As long as both gates are off, this power will keep working. That's a NOR gate, which is basically just an OR gate, except the signal is the opposite. And here's a basic AND gate. Tell me if I'm going too fast. This is fairly basic. Really easy to make a lot of these. Like, I don't think I need to explain how to make these. Now, what's happening here, actually, before I go into the AND gate, the reason this is changing state is this redstone, it looks like it's not really touching anything. But when it's next to a power source, it will power, when the block is being powered, it will power all blocks around it. All 4 of those blocks. So, all sides of it. That's what it will power. So just putting that out there. If, for example, though we had, this is a different setting, that's obviously for if it's sitting like that, but if it's sitting like so, and you've got a wire like that, it won't power the torch, because it's not directly powering it. If you've got it, for example, it's got an actual direction here, whereas there it doesn't, it's just all directions, that's what it's doing. So in order to change that, you would have to, even doing that, because as you can see, it's not going towards it. So just keep that in mind. It has to actually be facing it if you've got more than one wire there. That's why I thought I'd clarify that before we moved on. Anyway, let's keep moving. Back to this AND gate. Now the AND gate basically works when both inputs are on. sorry, that's an AND gate. That's a NAND gate, and that's an AND gate. I don't know why I did that. That's an AND gate, so it only works when both inputs are off. Because as you can see, this wire here is turning off that torch. Basic redstone mechanics is, if you've got a torch and a wire, it doesn't matter if it's in any direction, it could be completely parallel to it and not really touching it, but the minute you depower, you power this line, this torch is depowered. Just a bit of redstone trivia for you. So this is our AND gate. It'll only work when both are on. Now, we just had a look at the NAND gate a moment ago. It was accidentally made two NAND gates. That was my bad. A NAND gate is basically just the opposite. Whoops. They both have to be turned off, but that's only to turn the whole thing off. So the signal is already on, but the way to turn it off is to turn both of the inputs on. Now what we have here is an XOR gate. Now, this is the one that the person asked me about originally. As some of you may have noticed, this back section looks very much like an AND gate. It's got an extra wire in front of it and a block there. Now, keep in mind that this top part's only these two blocks are only being powered because lamps have a tendency, if the block here is being powered, they'll both be powered. So, see, that one doesn't even have to be touched. That's just redstone lamps, but that doesn't affect the redstone itself. As you can see, if this block here was powered, this would be off. As you will see here, that's off, but that block is now receiving power, proper power. Okay, anyway, so the XOR gate basically works that when either of these inputs has been flipped, so this one or this one, the output will change. So, like, as you can see, that's changed, and it's changed again. Now, this is different to normal because let's have a look at this redstone wire. You've got two torches and a wire. Whatever. If you turn one on, the wire's on, but can't invert it with another torch. So you need to do something special. So, like, for example, if this was hooked up to a door or something, then the other one wouldn't be able to close it. So, like, if you pulled a lever to open a door, walk through the door, and try to close it, the other lever wouldn't be able to do anything. So you need something like an XOR gate, which I've got here, to be able to close the door. Now, this is a universally accepted XOR gate. There's probably more compact versions of all of these that I'm about to show you, but this is the basics, and these are the ones from the Minecraft wiki, which everybody knows and uses. Everybody who uses redstone. So regardless of what it was before, the state will change every time the levers change. So that's a cool thing about the XOR gate. Let's have a quick look at how to build it. So we've got our basic almost AND gate sort of a setup. Place two torches on either side, and on top, and a torch in front. Then you place redstone on top, redstone to either side, so either one of these inputs will affect it. And then two more blocks, redstone on top of those blocks, and that's it. We've got our output, and now you put your inputs here and here, as I've done here and here. So that's our XOR gate. Now let's have a look at how to make the XNOR gate. The XNOR gate is the XOR gate inverted. So it's exactly the same as everything we just looked at, but it's got a torch at the front. So it's the opposite of what it was originally. I don't really need to go into that too much. It's just an inverted signal, basically. Now, this is an implies gate. This one is an interesting one. So this one basically will only ever work. It's got two inputs to it. This one's kind of like a lock. Like, this will prevent it, this one from being able to work. So, like, only when this one is off can this one be used, sort of thing. Which, you know, fairly simply is almost the same as doing this sort of thing. We have like we looked at before with two torches. That's almost an implies gate. So you got this one on, and this one can't do anything while the other one's on. So in this case, it's off though because it's got a torch. So I think that's probably where the opposite is, where the effect is. This redstone here has no effect on that, and that has no effect on that because redstone, while it can power a block next to it. Oh, this one's facing into the block. It cannot power through a block. The only way you can get power through a block of redstone is to place a repeater in any of the 3 other sides. So that's just another little piece of trivia for you, in case you were wondering about that. This here is the basic RS NOR latch. The RS NOR latch is the most well-known memory storage device in Minecraft. There are many different ways to make it. This is one. It looks like a big triangle, but it's got, yeah, here's one end. And then you've got your input, things like that. There are a number of different ways to do it. That's it. There is one type of RS NOR latch. There's heaps of different ways to do it. But basically, the main mechanics of it is, while this torch is on, this one can't be on. That's the basics of an RS NOR latch. Because with an RS NOR latch system, like let's not. I'm building a repeater right now just to give you an idea of something. This here is the old redstone clock, the most basic redstone clock you can make. And as you can see, because it's an odd number, they constantly fluctuate because this one disables that one, which enables this one to go on. But because this one is on, this one has to turn off. And because this one turns off, it turns this one on. And so it's a constant system. But if there was an even number, there would be no issue. The system would run along and do its own thing, completely uncaring, not caring what else was going on. So that's how the RS NOR latch works. Because there's an even number, the system, because this is on, this one will stay off. But if you can invert it as well. So this is, let's just say this is our input, our user input. So like if you wanted to store something in memory, you'd press that button and it swaps. See, now that one's on and that one's off. So in a lot of ways, this is the other one would be our reset line. So this would be our reset, and this would be our set. So set and reset. This is an RS NAND latch. Now apparently the RS NAND latch is not just the output inverted, but the inputs as well. So both our inputs are inverted, and both our outputs are, both our outputs are inverted. It's got 2 outputs on this one. So it's interesting, but as you notice, the levers are actually on. If both levers were off, both would be off. So it's completely like a reset if both are off. Okay, this is a D flip-flop. You probably won't use the RS NAND latch all too often. I don't use it very often. I make some pretty big stuff, and it's just the D flip-flop is an interesting one. It's basically it'll only work if this is on, as you can see. That's now. I'll reset it. Okay, so you've got, if this is off, this won't work. So it's basically the signal is locked. So for example, if you wanted to have similar to an RS NOR latch thing, but have signal come in and then to stop further signal from coming through and overriding it, you could turn this off or on using an alternate signal. So it's pretty cool. So it allows that to turn on and off. Let me show you that again. Now I didn't come up with this design or any of the designs you see. So just making sure you realize that I'm not taking credit for these ideas. I'm just putting them all together as a collection. So basically what we've got, let's build this thing. It's fairly simple. First we've got, this is our we've got input here. Let's put a lever there. And we've got wire going into that input. Then we've got a wire going like so. Hold on. Yeah, that's right. Just 2 blocks though. I kind of forgotten how to make it. I don't make this all too often. So basically, you've got your T. It's almost like a T there, except that one's making the rest of the T. Then you make a torch on here and a torch on here. Then you place some redstone here and here, as well as placing redstone. Sorry, forget that. There's a torch on the back end of this one. So it's similar to the RS Norlatch thing where you've got 2 variants there. And yeah, just putting that out there. And then our output goes from here to whatever our output block wants to be. So now our set line, we have a separate line for our set. As you can see over there, there's another block here. So what's basically happened here is you've got this button bleeds into this, like we saw before, how it powers or depowers this. It'll depower that torch and it will allow this to change states. As you can see, it's not changing states from over there. This is why it locks when it's off, and this is off. That redstone there will prevent this from turning on, which will won't allow this to change. So that's basically how that works. So this has to be on, and this is basically our lock, and that's how. Yeah, sorry, I got distracted. So our input can either be here or wherever. It doesn't matter as long as it reaches into the same block. And in this case, actually, I need to move back one so that it will work, because it's inverted, not a plain signal. So let's put the redstone on there, the redstone torch, and there's our wire, and we have a button on this one. And that should be it. Now the reset, if you want to reset this thing, this is the torch that needs to be reset. So you can do that, as I did it actually under here, I did it underground. I've got a wire going straight to here, from underground to there. So basically how I did that, I should have probably showed you, but I can do it now anyway. Like so. You can place a button on there, and that's it. So this is our thing that allows us to write. This is our button to write, and watch the change of that. So now that's on. We can turn this off or on, it won't affect it. We can change this multiple times, it won't affect it. It's just going to stay on. And that was odd. Shouldn't have done that. Oh, yeah, I'm an idiot. There's one more wire. So now that will have no effect on the signal, because this one disables that from making a change. So now when this is on, this writes, it's off, this won't change anything, and this is our reset. So it's fairly simple to make, and yeah, not overly complicated. It is pretty useful. Most beginner Minecrafters probably wouldn't need this all too often, or at all. I've only used it a few times. It's not something I use very often, but it can have some pretty cool uses, as you can see there. So it's like a write protection thing. The next thing I want to look at is a pistonless T flip-flop. Now I got this from LevanEvan, similar to my YouTube name, Even Steven. So LevanEvan produced a pistonless T flip-flop. I'll show you the one with the piston in a moment. Actually, let me grab that. Alright, cool. I just quickly put a piston in my inventory. So as you can see here, the output changes every time this button is pressed. Now the way this works, pretty clever. Our input goes into an AND gate. Now this AND gate is powered by this RS Norlatch. There's 2 RS Norlatches. This one here is like the one we looked at before, the triangle one, where you've got the block, the torch, the block, and then this block powers, because this torch is powering there, it will power this block, which powers that redstone, which powers that. So it depowers the torch. So while this torch is on, this one can't be off, and this is our RS null latch right here. I've used this RS null latch, and I do use this one in one of my games that I'm making, and it's quite handy. But alternatively, we've got this here to help us to reset it. So when this is pressed, when this is off, it'll reset this line. So for example, because this is our input over here, when let me just put a button here. So as you could see, it went through here and changed the state of this torch. Now when it did that, it allowed this to be depowered and this to be powered, and then powered this line here. Now as you can see, this line goes back into this block, so this block stays powered, which disables this light. Now this torch. It also comes over here with a 6 tick delay, my apologies, which goes into this torch, meaning that the next input that comes in, both of these will be off. So before it was coming through and it was powering that, but it was having no effect on the AND gate. But this time when it comes through, it'll depower this, and because both of these are depowered, it'll power this torch and disable this, so it resets the RS null latch. Pretty clever. So let's take a look at it from a different angle. See that? It powered the torch. So that's pretty cool. Now I want to show you how I'll show you how to make his. So once again, full credit to the original author. I'll leave a link in the description to anyone whose devices or whatever I use in this. What am I doing? Gee, what am I building? Like that. No, it was like so. And then this is our RS null latch. So far all I built is the basic structure. This is like a triangle here. A triangle here without the middle block. And then 2 blocks here. Block here. And that's it. So now we put in the torches. So there's 5 torches, my apologies. And then we put in our wire. And sorry, another block right here. And that's just to stop the signal, as you saw, from going down there. So it cuts off that signal and makes it go here. Also, when it's not there, it allows this to be powered because the torch isn't touching that wire. One more powered. Then our repeaters, 4 and 2, which gives us 6, and then that's our output. So this here is our input. Again, as you can see, that torch changes state every time. The torches change. It's pretty cool. Anyway, so let's now I'll show you how to make a piston T flip-flop. There's a number of different ways to do this. There's some more compact than others, and so as not to lose you with the complexity of possibly compact ones, let me show you this one. This is the most commonly known T flip-flop. It isn't the most compact by far, but it is awesome. It's reliable and it's very well known. This is the most common, and so we can put a torch underneath that block. So this is our output now. Now I use this one, I use T flip-flops in my Redstone house, which I made ages ago, for my lighting. So when you press the button, as you can see, it changes on and off. So pistons are awesome. There's a lot of more compact ways to do it, but I'm not going to go into those. I'll leave the original. I'll leave you to look up those if you really want to find out what the more compact ones are. And this is our last gate that we are going to talk about. This is the JK flip-flop. Now the JK flip-flop is probably the least commonly used one. You would mostly use this in larger systems, and the reason you would use this is for its diverse uses. One such use is if you give it constant power, it becomes a clock. If you give it a pulse of power, has to be a certain number of pulse, it will change state. So if it is like a normal T flip-flop. But yeah, that's the basics of that. So basically all we've got here is an RS NOR latch in the middle and 2 AND gates on the outsides with a wire over the top. This wire over the top feeds into these side bits to reset, to stimulate the AND gate. Now this one goes back to its parent, and this one here goes back to its parent as well, as you can see there. So that's the basics of the JK flip-flop. Now because it's not very oftenly used, I won't I won't quickly build it for you, but I just wanted to quickly show you those. This is all the logic gates in the game. Now, and I'm going to say it again just in case people have skipped ahead. These are not the most compact methods of doing things. I'm not trying to teach the compacts here. I'm just trying to teach the gates and the basics of the gates. So I hope you found this useful. Like I said, I did this for one of my subscribers who wanted to know a bit about 3 of the gates that I've mentioned here. And I'll leave your name anonymous as you didn't ask me to state it. But if anyone wants to know anything about Redstone or whatever, I'm more than happy to do it. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you found something here useful, and I'll catch you later. See ya.
Got a little Swedish there.
Yeah.